I got into every art school that I applied to, and in this video I'm going to talk about my application process for each art school. And yeah, this video is going to be broken up into 3 parts, which is first, what I did during application season, secondly, my portfolio, and 3, what school am I going to commit to. If you're unfamiliar with application season in the United States, it's technically the months between August through February/March maybe, and most students usually use Common App, which is a nonprofit membership organization connecting applicants to diverse ranges of schools. In other words, most people apply to schools in the US using Common App. Whereas when it comes to deadlines for applicants, which are early action, meaning you're bound to the school, early decision, meaning you just apply to the school, but early, which means you're not obligated to attend that school if you get accepted, and regular decision is pretty much the same thing as early decision, but your odds are less to get into that school. When it comes to art schools I applied to, it was Pratt, RISD, and Micah. I applied all regular decision because I did not submit my portfolio on time, or in other words, I just didn't have my portfolio ready. So as any normal person would, I went on TikTok and Google and searched up, what should I put in my art portfolio? Because it pretty much depends on what school you're applying to, what major you're going to do, and how does proper photos look like when you're uploading your photos for your portfolio. As for each school I applied to, I pretty much submitted the same portfolio. So now I will go through each piece that I submitted to my schools and basically explain my methodology behind choosing them. But before I go into each piece I created for my portfolio, I want to talk about the allotted time that I had to even create these pieces. I only had at least 3 to 2 weeks for the deadlines for most of my art schools, so I was really in a time crunch. So most of the pieces that I did draw from was from my old IB art class from last year and old sketchbooks that I had sketches in, and that's pretty much what brought me to even have a portfolio. And I think I only created at least 2 pieces which were made with oil. But yeah, that's pretty much my disclaimer. So these full spread sketch pages of my figure drawings were made around 2024, and basically my methodology for adding figure drawings is because everyone added figure drawings. I think it shows technical art skills, and I believe art schools are looking that you have an understanding of anatomy, and pretty much you're going outside of your comfort zone when it comes to drawing, I believe. But don't quote me on this because I pretty much Googled and I was on TikTok most of the time. So this is the vague memory of someone that doesn't really understand what they're talking about. But I'm talking about my portfolio that I submitted. So yeah, I think the figure drawings turned out nice, but we're on to the next piece. So this next piece that I am is also a full spread sketch page. And okay, it's a lot of full spread sketch pages, but like, bear with me, like this is all I had, and I was scrapping for anything and anything because I was literally like on a time crunch. So it's another full spread sketch page. That's okay, a tongue twister is a full sketch page. Anyways, but this piece is called Twins, and they two look unironically alike, even though I didn't create them to be alike. But my rationale or my methodology is basically that it shows that I know how to draw characters, and it shows I know how to draw emotions and facial expressions, even though it's not that much facial expressions, but also shows I know how to draw portraits. So yeah, I believe it just had a very good grip on the art world, or what the people wanted. But basically, most of the things that I did put into my art portfolio was from TikTok. So again, this is also another one that I did because TikTok told me to. Now these next 2 pieces are a painting of me as a baby, and a painting of my friend. And these were the ones I did for IB Art last year that I submitted for my IB Art portfolio this year. And yeah, I believe it just showed that like I can do different mediums. This is another one that I wanted to add because most of my portfolio is pretty much sketches, and I wanted to have as much different type of mediums as possible because that's another thing that Pratt really likes at the time, because Pratt was one of the ones that I was looking at, because Pratt likes to see a diverse range of mediums that you're able to use. I don't know about Rizzy or Micah, but it's kind of like follows the same direction, I guess. Yeah, they want to see different ways of you using material, but I really did enjoy drawing these two, or not drawing these two, painting these two. They're both acrylic, by the way. I know a lot of you guys are wondering, like, his portfolio's really not that good, and I'm like, yeah, it really is not that good. But I believe one thing that a lot of art schools are looking at is that, do you have potential to actually be an art student rather than actually just being good at art? I believe a lot of people are good at art, but they don't have the potential, or you don't market yourself as having a potential to be an art student, if that makes sense. It's more or less you're just good at art, so might as well just be good at art, I guess. But let me talk about this next two pieces, which are oil paintings, and it's an oil painting of a shoe and a reference that was from this photography book that I can't show because copyright reasons. But yeah, I took inspiration of that, and those are balloons, if you didn't know those were balloons. But yeah, and this was actually made in pretty much of a time crunch during the last week. I didn't even let it dry, I just took a picture, and you can see the buildup of the paint on the photo, but it was worth it. And I actually enjoyed oil painting a little bit, but I hated the cleanup process. It was so draining because you can't really like put it down the sink, but you don't do that with acrylic anyways. But like acrylic is more easier, except you have like buildup of acrylic, but that's where you throw it in the trash. But yeah, now I'm just yapping, but let's go to the next two. This is an acrylic, this is an acrylic painting of a heel. This is a watercolor painting of a woman, and the next one is an acrylic painting of a pear. And these are all experiments in my understanding, in a sense that I'm using different mediums, I'm using different things. Like, it's not all portraiture, it's not all still lives and items. It's a diverse range of different mediums and different things that I'm trying and different things I'm depicting. And I believe that's another thing that I saw when I was making my portfolio. It's more diversity. When I was on Reddit and I was looking at failed portfolios, or rejected portfolios, they were actually really, really good. But one thing they did lack was diversity. You would just have still life on still life on still life on still life on still life, or you have portrait. I believe the reason, honestly, I'm really just BSing at this point. Like, I'm really pulling at strings of why I got into these schools, but I'm pretty sure it's that they just saw a lot of potential in me. But on top of that, I really had a diverse portfolio in different mediums that I use. And also, yeah. And another thing is that I actually didn't write about any of my pieces on my portfolio. I just submitted my artwork. I didn't have any big meaning behind any of these. But in my rationale, I did talk about a lot of other things that I might post, I might not. But it was like a 3-page essay about something, I forgot, but I wrote something. I think it was about shape language, but yeah, I think that's where I really talked about most of my art terminology and how I understand art. But yeah, that's technically it of my portfolio. So as much as I yapped about my pieces, meaningful or not meaningful, the big question is, what school am I committing to? And I'm not going to any of these schools. Like, I'm going to community college. Like,
I'm
I'm
already
already going. No, but to be fair, when it came to the financial aid and everything that I put in together, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to even afford to even breathe at that school. I think there's a breathing fee too. So it just was out of range and out of my budget. And Fastfill wasn't gonna be here to save me. So yeah. But I hope you enjoyed this video of me talking about my application process slash thing. Something it's a video that I've been meaning to make, but every time I make videos, I'm like, should I go on script or should I just say what I want to say? And sometimes I say what I want to say and I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, what am I even talking about? So some of the parts in the portfolio, like, just lock in on the parts that I'm actually talking about my artwork and just forget the stuff that I'm talking about the advisors, because clearly I am not an advisor, and do not listen to me because I will never be an advisor. And don't, like, honestly, I wouldn't even say take notes. More or less, this is like learn from someone who made the mistakes of not doing their stuff on time. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my video and I hope you have a good day.